Έχουμε έρθει να συναντήσουμε τον διάσημο ηθοποιό, σεναριογράφο και σκηνοθέτη Chris Jaymes, ο οποίος βρίσκεται στην Ελλάδα και έχει ενσαρκώσει την Ελληνική Επανάσταση σε κόμικ. Πάμε να δούμε τι έχει να μας πει. Chris, tell me about the comic. What you inspired to write about the Greek Revolution?
Well, initially it started out as a friend of mine who came from Greece. He approached me saying, you should make a movie about the Greek Revolution. And I didn't know anything about it, and I barely knew anything about the American Revolution. So I was not very savvy with my Greek history. And my friend, he was very relentless. He's saying, no, this is so interesting. Nobody knows this story except for people in Greece. And so he kept giving me books, and the timing worked out one day. So I said, okay, and I started reading the book about the Greek War for Independence, and then I read another one, and I started to come upon interesting characters that I just started becoming more and more interested. And sort of at one point, I realized that I was seeing all of these battles and the people fighting as a movie, but not in a good way, in a like a cartoon, like seeing this history as a cartoon. And I realized in this one moment, I'm not seeing this as a true human experience. And so all of a sudden it shifted, and I started to imagine what it would be like to live in a time like this, where every day you don't know if your friend will be there or if your mom will die. And it affected me that this was only a short minute ago in history. So when those two things happened, when I realized this was very recent, and that we often don't look at war and our history as a real human experience, but a fantasy or a fictional version of reality, it made me look harder at it to figure out what it would feel like to live through something like this.
What was the reception by the people?
So far, it's been very wonderful, especially in Greece. Everybody is a big word, but many of the people that approach me or that come to talk to me are so appreciative, and they're so surprised that why I'm spending my life talking about your history. So I feel a lot more love and appreciation than I expected, which is really nice. After you spend so much time, you hope that the people it's about are gonna like it. So it's good.
How long did you research on the topic last before you started writing?
I probably spent very close to a year when I initially started to try to learn about the revolution. It wasn't very easy to find information in English because there were not many books. And at the time, 12 years ago, there also wasn't so much information about 1821 on the internet. There were some Wikipedia pages, but not too much. So I had to find books and read everything I could, and then you start to realize all the books and the information tell you a different story. So you have to look past what's the information and realize that every history book is a different fictional story, and so you have to try to work like a reporter investigating who wrote it and whose opinions to try to discern what the truth might be. So it took about a year of work.
What does Greece represent to you?
It's interesting, I think, because when you grow up, you as a child or in school, you are told just the very cliche things, you know, kind of probably the same for you about my country. You know, you hear about Greek mythology, you hear about Greek gods, you hear about Greek food, you hear about gyros and eating falafels, so it's nothing significant. You hear about democracy and that the Greek history is very important and significant, but you don't know anything about it, and they don't teach you anything that's very significant. So you don't have much to go by except for what you see in movies or what you've Mamma Mia, Clash of the Titans, this kind of very surface level ideas. So you grow up not knowing anything about what any other culture is like, and so then once you start to get introduced to it, I think you get way more fascinated about everything, and you think everything is better than where you come from in some ways, and then you start to complain about the things that are not that are not as good. So I would say, in terms of my experience so far with Greece, what it represents is, I don't know, a place of history, of culture, that a people that fought to maintain their identity, and a people who figured out how to come together to solve problems and to come up with more thoughtful, brilliant ideas, somehow better than most any other culture. And I don't know why. Why did you guys always figure out how to do that? It's a mystery, but it's cool.
What was the criteria for choosing Ali Pasha?
The decisions of what to write about was very challenging because there's so much information, right? Mm-hmm. And there's so many different people and so many different characters. So as I started to learn more about the revolution and the people in it, I was looking for what would be the most interesting story to get people to engage in the subject matter who didn't know about the revolution, didn't care about the revolution, had no knowledge. So it was I was searching for what was an entry point to the story that would make people care to pay attention. And I think the dynamic between Ali Pasha and the Sulliates, and especially Marcos Batseras' family, had such a dynamic element that already felt like a movie to me. And I think Ali Pasha was so insane in these ways that were really brilliant, but also just inhumane and vicious. And I think when you see a human have the capacity to be a leader like this, it's always compelling to understand how and why a person gets to be like this. So the more I learned about the truths behind his psychology, I thought it's just so interesting because it really reflects someone that is manipulative in a cinematic manner as a very cliche bad guy, very much like the Joker or these sort of characters. And so that's kind of how it started. And then the story just started to make sense as a good way to introduce the subject matter to people that knew nothing.
Can you share some details about the exhibition that you are participating in?
So there's a couple of things at the moment. So this weekend was Comic-Con. And then on the day after tomorrow in Messalongi, there's an event that I'm sort of hosting or giving a presentation about the book with some people within the city government and some committees put together a night for me to do this. And then a couple of days after that in Athens, I am, I guess, sort of being a guest that they're wanting me to speak at the Parnassus Literary Society. So I have 3 events that I came here to do right now.
And lastly, can you tell me a word or two about the movie you are participating?
So for the past month, I've been shooting a TV show as an actor, which is it's on Apple TV, and it's called For All Mankind, and it's about the space race between the US and Russia, and it's coming on to season 4 right now. So I play an English astronaut who is a part of the European Space Agency, and I go to do a mission. We live on a space station in Mars, and in season 4, this is sort of where the storyline goes. So yeah, so it's insane. I've never been a part of a show that is so large, where you dress up as a spaceman. you get to be like, you have the sets are big space stations, and you're on Mars, and they have certain times there'll be scenes where you're weightless, so they have harnesses that make you fly around, and so it's really a blessing to get to watch a show like this get made and be a part of it.